listening to Retro Station, a retro game podcast.
The NeoGeo is a system for only the classiest gamers. How did it end up on this podcast?
Hi folks, I just wanted to give you a quick heads up before you start listening to the podcast. For the first 2.5 minutes, and then for a chunk towards the end, we were having some sound issues due to an external hard drive being too close to the microphone, and we didn't realize it till long after the fact. So as a result, during those times, the sound will have a hum kind of beneath it, and then also our voices will be quieter because I was trying to lessen the sound of that, but I couldn't erase it entirely. Once you get past that first part, the vast majority of the podcast sounds fine, but there is that little part I just wanted to give you a warning in case that's something that bothers you. You kind of skip past the first 2.5 minutes or so. Anyway, I do hope you enjoy the podcast, the parts that sound good at least, and hopefully you'll have fun learning about Twinkle Star Sprites. Hi everybody, welcome to Retro Station, a retro game podcast. I'm David.
I'm Hilary.
And I'm Steven.
And today we're going to be talking about the NeoGeo game Twinkle Star Sprites. But before we get to that, what have y'all been up to lately?
It's been a very busy, chaotic week here for me personally. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to play other things. With our game pick coming up for the end of this episode, it was Game Boy Advance, and which made me want to play Pokemon games really badly. So I did start up Pokemon Fire, since it's basically a remake of Red. So just in case that doesn't get picked for our game to play next week, I went ahead and started playing a Pokemon game. And then I felt like there was something else that I played, but now I don't remember what it was. So I was trying something out real quick to see how it works. So.
Yeah, makes sense. What do you see?
Been a pretty busy week also, which is, I played this game, and I played the story mode, and I played all different modes of it, but luckily this game was pretty short, so I did get to work on some of the other games that I've been playing. I haven't gotten much time to play Baldur's Gate 3, mostly because I don't know if I'm just in a funk with it, or what, but I haven't really continued to play on my normal story mode. I did try to start it's called honor mode, and it's kind of like a hardcore mode where you only get one save, so you can't backtrack and load. And all the enemies are harder. They'll target you harder in that mode, and the rules are different than the other modes because where they might let some overlap slide. So for one example, I know that if you get a Hexblade Warlock and you get it to level, I think 5 or something, you get an extra attack with the Hexblade. And then if you multi-class and you get an extra attack as a normal bonus for your class, then you actually get 2 extra attacks. So it won't normally overlap like that. And in honor mode, it fixes that, so you can't do those things.
Okay.
Honor mode is, if you beat it, you get, a special bonus. And so I was like, oh, I was curious how to see it. And I made it, partway through Act 1, and I got stomped.
Oh, God.
And I died. And so you can choose to continue as a custom mode, but you don't get any of the benefits from beating the game in honor mode. And so I was like, that's rough. I put about 10 hours into Stardew Valley.
Oh, cool.
Which is just a fun life simulator game, farm simulator. But it's a lot easier because I don't play Baldur's Gate 3 on my handheld. I play it mouse and keyboard.
Right.
So when I'm laying in bed, I can just pull out Stardew Valley and play that. I booted up Fallout 1.
Oh, cool. Right on.
And have been putting a little bit of time into that. And, talk about rough.
I loved it, and I'm a little afraid to go back and try it because I think it's going to... I don't mind playing older style games, but, there's going to be quality of life things that I didn't realize it didn't have, I think, you know what I mean? So
yeah, so I'm just maybe an hour into it, so I'm gonna give it a little more time.
Yeah.
Oh, I played on handheld. I played Sonic Frontiers.
Oh yeah.
That was interesting. It's not my style of game. I got it because it was on sale.
Right.
And it's very high paced.
Right.
and slightly open world, but not really open world. Have you guys played that one?
We haven't, but our oldest.
Yeah, I watched her play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Every time I've seen it, it's always very gray. I don't know if it's just like the areas I'm watching her on. Is there any more colorful areas than that? Because it seemed weird for Sonic, because there's just this big...
I've only put about an hour in it, so I might still be in the tutorial area, and it's very like what you would see outside us in spring and stuff.
Okay, good. Well, that's cool. Okay, so other than playing this, I started Suikoden 2 over again because I was playing it on a handheld and that thing got kind of jacked up, and so it's recoverable. The handheld is recoverable, but it's going to lose my save anyway, so I had to start that over, which I'm surprised I did, because a lot of times if it's like a big, long, involved game like that, a JRPG, if I have to like start over somehow, I usually just say screw it and move on, but I just wanted to play it again, so restarted. I'm not as far as I was before, but I'll get there eventually. And then I played a couple games on the Switch that I think are available. I know are available other places too. So I played Celeste, which I'd played before, and at that time I didn't really like it. It's a platform game, very like pixel graphics. It was made in Pico 8, which is, I've heard it described as like a make-believe system. It's like not a real system that existed, but a lot of emulators and stuff have it on there, and you can actually program your own games on there too, which I've been meaning to try to learn how to do, and I have not done that yet. But so it was made there first, but it's become really popular, and you're basically a girl who's trying to get to the top of a mountain, and I assume you're going up through the insides, because it's not like you're just climbing a slope. And you can jump, you can dash either on the ground or mid jump, and then you can grab on the side of walls and climb them. And every screen is essentially, it's really like a puzzle. Like, how are you going to get from where you are to the thing that'll get you to the next screen, because there's spikes everywhere, so you really have to figure out exactly how to time everything, so you jump and you dash and you grab at the right times, and it's tricky. And the first time I didn't like it. Again, I don't usually like games where you have to like puzzle to go anywhere, but I pushed past where I was before, and the nice thing is that you can save on any level, and when you go back you'll just be on the exact same screen you're at, so you don't lose a bunch of progress ever. You don't have to try again the same levels you already tried, but it's challenging. Like right out of the gate there's a tough thing, so I don't know as you get further in the game how much harder this is going to be, because it's already pushing my limits of like me being able to figure out how I need to like grab and dash and when to get to where I need to go. But it's interesting. I see why a lot of people like it. I don't know if I love it, but the nice thing is I can just go back, play like a screen of it if I want to, hopefully get through it, and then put it away and come back to it another time. So in that sense it's nice. It's get a little quick shot of something if I just want like a quick puzzly thing. And another game I played, also starting over because of that handheld crashing, is, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, Touhou Luna Nights. It's Touhou Luna Nights, and it is a Metroidvania. I'm not sure I fully grasped the story. You're a character that has been able to control time, but you get transported to this area, and then I assume the big boss of the area, who you are familiar with, says, I'm challenging you, and now I'm weakening all your powers, so you can't do as much. And then, of course, as you go on, you get more powerful. But it's neat. You can throw daggers, and you can eventually slow down or stop time for a period of time, and you learn abilities as you go, like in any Metroidvania. I don't think I was too far in that before, because apparently I thought I was, but I'm seeing a lot of the same areas I've already seen, and I'm barely into it. So I must have just done a horde of grinding, because you can level up and get more powerful as you go, and then increase the amount of daggers you throw and the amount of time you have, because you have like a time meter that runs out as you slow time, and you have to kind of gain that back. Another kind of interesting thing is your attacks, your daggers take up MP, and the daggers will get stuck in walls, so you can gain some of that back if you can get close enough, and they'll kind of zip to you, or if that's not enough, you can let the bad guys get close to you, because once they get close to you, like this energy saps out of them and goes into you and will replenish your MP as well. But of course, then you have an enemy right close to you, so you got to be prepared for that. But it's an interesting system, and it's actually a really fun game. Very pixel graphics as well, prettier than Celeste, but they're both good and they're both doing what they want to do. So good games. I like both of them to some extent. Touhou I really want to get further in, because that's another one I'm bummed I lost that progress, but. I'm going to try not to grind as much this time, since I know how the game works a little better than I did the first time. Maybe I won't need to feel so overpowered to get far. We'll see. But that's my current plan. Do you guys have any interesting news?
Yeah. So we are recording on the weekend of PAX. So I'm sure there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
We decided not to go. PAX tends to be generally expensive, overwhelming. We all have kids. And I think it's, 4 days?
I think it's
Friday through Monday?
I think 4 days now, yeah.
Yeah. And then also bumper shoots going on in Seattle, too, which probably just adds to the chaos up there.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a event that we talked about going to, Indy 6, which is a bunch of independent developed video games and board games, but because of everything else going on in Seattle, we decided not to go to it.
But I did see pictures. I'm in a Facebook group for Claire Obscure, and they had a panel there with a lot of the voice actors, and I almost bought a ticket for and went yesterday, but I also didn't want to pay $80 for a one-day event and then probably have to stand in line super early, because I knew that...
Or $20 for parking. And
and I knew that the game is popular, and it has to even be popular in Seattle, and people travel to this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm in a Facebook group, and I saw a picture of the panel, and there was no less than 200 people dressed in the baguette outfit, which is you think of a French person.
Yeah, is it very stereotypical?
And that's what it is. Yeah, it's the striped shirt, the beret, and then they have a baguette, which is one of the, because you can unlock outfits in that game,
right?
And apparently that one just caught on. So you stare out. I could only imagine, and I'm sure they've seen it before, but you stare out into this audience of just all sunglasses, French baguette uniforms.
It's gotta be very strange.
Yeah. Other news,
that was a joke outfit. They're like, oh, this will be funny.
Yeah. Owlcat Games announced that, and they're the ones that have done Pathfinder, a lot of CRPGs. They did Rogue Trader, Warhammer. They announced that coming soon, I'm not sure exactly when, but they're doing a Warhammer 40,000 Dark Heresy CRPG.
Now, these are all based on... Are they... I mean, I know, Rogue Trader, there's a tabletop RPG Rogue Trader, and I think there's a Dark Heresy one. Is that the, high-powered characters, do you know? Or, one of those RPGs, you were playing, Space Marines, and then one, you're Rogue Trader, you're not Space Marines, and then I think there's one that was even, lower tier people than that. Do you know, what power level that one is? Is that,
I have no clue. Okay. I saw it. I kind of went over and looked at it. I haven't looked any more than just knowing that it's coming out.
Yeah.
I did pick up Rogue Trader on a Steam sale. I haven't gotten to play it yet, but apparently you're essentially independent people doing, mercenary type missions.
Right.
And you're a mix of different races, I think, or that can be a conflict, because obviously in Warhammer there's not a good mixing of people. Don't like each other.
Yeah, they don't hang out or
yeah.
anything.
So there's that, and I know that you can be psychers in the other game, things like that. But
should be cool.
I'm assuming if you like the Rogue Trader games, this will probably be very similar to it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I don't know if there's any others that I didn't announce last week.
Yeah.
That
Take this with a massive, massive grain of salt, because I can't even remember who said it, but there was someone, I think, at PAX associated with Claire Obscure who implied there would be more Claire Obscure games. They said that's just one of the stories they want to tell in that world. So
that's interesting, having played the game.
I don't know. But
because the game is new, I'm not going to say too much about it, but the way the story goes, I don't know how you could, unless it's a direct sequel, which
I have no
is
idea.
weird. It's hard to, how they could make a sequel. It could be a prequel, but I think there were so many plot twists and turns in that game that you would really have to play the first one to understand the second one, which, I mean, it's not a problem. They sold so many copies of that game, and people love that game. It's going to be a cult following. But I would be very interested to see how they do that. Because if you played the first game, you know the world.
Yeah.
and that unlocks.
Well, it could
a lot.
also be something where it's similar to like it's a cut-in game or Final Fantasy game where like kind of opposite directions, but like where it's like, okay, it's this world that you know, but it takes place several years later, or it's something where it's like it's just a kind of a it's roughly in that world, but you know, but it's a completely different storyline and
Could be.
stuff. So.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It was like one little blurb. And again, I don't even remember who said it. I assume someone who knows something and not just some rando they found at PAX. He looked like he was on a panel, whoever it was, but yeah.
And it could just be something that they want to do, but
Yeah.
it's not in the works or
Yeah.
anything.
Who
So.
knows? I mean, this could be years down the road for making a game like that. So.
Oh, speaking of years down the road, this is not news, but it was news to me. So, because I started playing Stardew Valley again, I did a little research on it.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know the guy who created Stardew Valley, he was a single person that did it in the beginning. He grew up in Auburn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and moved to Seattle. He went to UW of Tacoma. So he is a local guy.
Wow.
He is in the works, I think, as of 2022, I think he started. It's called The Haunted Chocolatier. So it's supposed to be, it looks very similar graphics to Stardew Valley, somewhat similar gameplay, but instead of raising a farm, you're like a chocolatier, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's supposed to be like an RPG, a lot of monsters that you can fight, a lot of fetch missions and stuff like that. So, and I know Stardew Valley was super popular on it, and it looks interesting. I think he did a recent interview about like 3 or 4 months ago. I want to say IGN, and it didn't sound like he was close to finishing it.
Okay.
So,
Well, we should swing by his house and see how it's going.
yeah.
Yeah.
He'd probably like to see us. I'm sure he's probably a big fan. I know this has been kind of crazy. Do you have any kind of news, anything you've heard about that's interesting? Or? Nah, I don't think so. Okay, that's fine. I mentioned last time the deal with the new Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines game, how people were upset because there's like 4 clans you can play out of the box, but then there's 2 that are hidden behind a paywall that's going to be there on day 1. And the good news is that they are supposedly considering, possibly discussing the possibility of maybe not doing that. So that's promising. My guess is even if they don't do that, if they just come out with it, it's going to be like if the game was 60 before, they're probably going to make it like 70 now. I guarantee you
everything.
they're going to get some money out of you. I bet you anything.
Well, it's just wild. Like, I don't know anything about the game.
Right.
You said that this was a sequel or a remake?
It's a sequel of a game
Sequel.
that came out like 2 decades ago.
All right. And in the first game, how involved was these groups? Like, I mean, so, like, does it, like, change the whole gameplay? Like, is it a big, huge, giant part?
I mean,
or is it just, like, cosmetic?
your general plot's going to be, the overall plot's going to be the same, right? But different clans have different abilities.
It's
So
kind of like similar to having like different races in.
yeah, but like maybe even more so, like in D&D or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But like,
Yeah.
But like, there's like one clan that's really fighty and like fight the system, and there's the other ones that are total like the super rich snotty people or vampires, I guess. But they all have different abilities, and then different clans will react to you differently depending on what clan you are, because some of them do not get along as well with each other. So I think it will. I mean, I understand that a lot goes into probably adding a clan to this game because you have to make all those reactions, but it's made. I mean, it's going to be there day 1.
Right.
So I think that's why people are upset. Is
I'm
that
sure they probably have different, like, hubs or bases that they have to flesh out and stuff, too.
I would imagine so. Yeah, because if you're
Just, like, $15, because you said it was, like, from 60 to 90.
yeah.
So, for 2, basic math, 15 per clan.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it has replayability, right? Because if you want to really try all the different ones and see how they play and how the storyline's different, I see that. I think if they would have just waited, like not told anybody about this,
Right.
waited like 6 months, say, hey, we're going to release a couple new clans that you can download and buy. I
That's
bet
what they should have done.
almost no one would complain.
Right.
But the fact that's there on day one, and everyone's like, we should just be able to have this, because it's day one, it's ready.
Who does a day one DLC? That does make sense. Like, if you had like a couple months to play the game with the original, not knowing, and you're like, oh, I wonder what it'd be cool to see these other clans, and they're like, got you.
Yeah.
Here's those other clans for $20-$30.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I really enjoyed the game. Here's some money. It's almost like they know that the game's going to be bad and then want that.
I'm concerned about this because this has been in development.
It's been in development for a long
over a
time.
decade. Like, it was announced
Like
a
11
long
years
time.
or
Yeah.
something like that. So.
And it's been in development hell, and for a while, like, no one heard anything about it. And maybe that'll mean it'll end up fine. Maybe it's gotten in the right people's hands. I don't know. But if y'all remember, like, the wait for the sequel to Duke Nukem 3D was like 2 decades, and then when it came out, it was trash. Like, that's what I'm afraid of.
Has this company put out any other games?
I don't remember. But probably.
I'm curious, because, like, if it's just like
out.
if they put out one game like a decade ago and then did nothing except for produce this game, there's nothing that you can really like lean on.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
it's interesting, because the people, the Game Freak, and this was surprising, who are putting out the new Pokemon game coming in October, they are also working on their own, a different game that looks nothing like Pokemon graphics. And I remember when they first showed it, I'm like, this is Game Freak? And they're like, yeah, we've been working on it for a couple years now. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. They just poop out Pokemon games.
Yeah. Okay, so they have Charters, Commerce, Europa Universalis 4, Age of Wonders 4. So, I mean, they've got some stuff that's... I don't... The only one I know is Age of Wonders 4 is supposed to be good. So, we'll see. I would love for it to be good, but I would also love for them to figure out how to not piss off people. Like, I hate to say they should have just lied to everybody and said, we're not working on anything, but they should have done that. That would have been the smart thing to do, because now everyone's mad.
Yeah.
So, that's how it is. The other news... So, I mentioned playing these games on handhelds. So there's a lot of companies that make these retro handhelds now, and some of them run on Linux, some do Android, but there's this company called NeoGeo, and they're very, like, premium parts, premium everything. They also make handheld, like, computer devices like the Steam Deck, but they make these Android ones, and they're usually quite a bit more expensive than the competition. And then they recently announced they're going to have 2 separate other lines. Like, one is going to be kind of like a mid-tier line, and then the budget-friendly line, they're calling Conquer, K-O-N-K-E, or K-R, I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, Conquer. And they finally started, they put a video of, like, what their first machine's going to be like. They didn't have any specs, but they were saying, oh, it's great, and it still has, good quality, but it's budget-friendly. Like, that's the thing. Budget-friendly.
What do they consider budget?
They said, we were able to create this handheld for under $369. Okay, look. That's like top of the line most of the other ones, or at least approaching top of the line most of the other ones. Now, I don't know the specs of this. It probably can run a lot of things. It probably doesn't have, like, the most expensive parts, but, like, that's your budget line? Like, I thought when they said their budget line, it was going to be like, yeah, we create a system now that can play just up to, like, PS1. And, it's like $80, $100 maybe. Like, okay. But their concept of what a budget handheld is insane. Now, maybe they're doing other things in that Conquer line, and maybe they will have cheaper ones. Maybe this is just their flagship bells and whistles. But, wow.
So is this like a retro gaming system, or is it for, like, modern games?
It's a retro gaming system. It runs on Android. So it'll be able to play Android games, but then I don't know what system it can play up to. At that price point, it better be able to play up through Switch. It needs to be competitive.
But you still
So
have
it's
to,
a handheld
you still have to go
that
hunt.
comes downloaded with games, or like preloaded with games?
No.
So you still have to emulate.
Yeah, you'd have to emulate. You probably need to buy an SD card. It probably has some kind of onboard storage, but probably not that much.
Which is rough, because emulating is... I mean, obviously I figured it out.
Yeah.
But there are hints and tips and tricks out there, but there is no one that'll hold your hand.
Yeah.
Because it's not legal to hold your hand.
Yeah, and the Android ones almost never come preloaded. Like, some of the other ones do, but The Androids you also always have to set up. If you're getting one of those, whether it's INEs or whatever, an Android one, the YouTube channel Retro Game Core, they are... the dude on that's great. He will walk you through all the setup stuff as much as he can. Actually physically hold your hand, unless you're in Hawaii and you live next door, maybe he will. You can ask. But his videos are great. It really takes you step by step, and he updates them every so often because, you know, the software changes and whatnot. So that's a good place to go. But I just was like, I was waiting for this line to see what it was going to be like, thinking like, oh, cool, they're coming out with like reasonably priced stuff, and it's like, no, man, it's...
What would you pay for a handheld? Reasonably priced?
It depends.
Like 152?
It depends. Like, it depends on how powerful it is, right? So, like, if it can play up through, like, PlayStation 2, GameCube reasonably well, that's probably going to be close to 150, usually. If it can play them, like, consistently, without, you know, some are not going to have a bunch of problems. That's probably ballpark, right?
Yeah.
You know, PS1, you can get them for $40 sometimes, or if they're on sale. Like, you can get cheap ones for that.
I was going to say, a lot of them seem to be like 60 $80 for the PS1.
Well, I think, like, so, like, a lower-end Steam Deck is, like, $450. I can't remember exactly, like, if you want to buy it brand new. And then OLEDs are $500-$600 bucks. But those can play any retro game.
Yeah.
I mean, it has Linux, you emulate. It has emulators that are built to go, like, in your Steam library, and it can play modern games that are coming out this year.
Because I put some emulated stuff on my...
To pay $300 per something that can only emulate or something like that is pretty wild.
Yeah, my problem, and this might just be me hanging up, it totally could be, like, I put some emulator stuff on my Steam Deck, and then I realized, like, no, I want to fill this all up with PC games. So, like, I didn't have room. And so, like, when I have a dedicated thing for something, I'm like, okay, this is just for that. I don't have to think about, like, oh, I could be filling it up with this other stuff. So, yeah. And you can get a different gameplay experience depending on, like, the handheld itself a little bit. But yeah, no, you're right. A lot of people, especially when you get to those levels, it's like, why don't you just get a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally or whatever, name your handheld PC.
I've looked at those ROGs. Those get really expensive. They can get in the thousands, right?
Yeah, if you get, like, really, like, the max everything. Like, I think the base one's not... I mean, it's more than the Steam Deck, but it's not, like, super insane. But, like, yeah, as you start adding more storage and whatnot, it starts getting really up there. But, yeah. But you could do that if you wanted to. But, yeah, I was just blown away at that. That's their budget line. I hope they have other things, because that's crazy to me. But they're fun.
Speaking of expensive stuff, we played the NeoGeo, right?
We did play the NeoGeo, yeah. So we're going to be talking about Twinkle Star Sprites, but before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about the NeoGeo system itself, because you two didn't really have much of any knowledge of it, correct?
No.
Correct.
So I'm assuming some of the folks out there might be the same. So the NeoGeo is made by SNK, who's made video games for a lot of systems. There's a lot of their games on Nintendo and probably Super Nintendo and Genesis. I'm not sure about that, but they made a lot of games, but they decided to come out with their own in 1990. So to give you an idea of what was going on, the NES was still kind of going, but the Genesis came out in 1989. The Super Nintendo would not come out till 1991. So it comes out right between the two big 16-bit systems. And the idea of this system is really neat. So at least to me and a lot of my friends during that era, a big deal is we wanted our games at home to be arcade perfect, right? If we got an arcade port, we wanted it to look like the arcade, feel like the arcade, everything. And almost no system could do it, at least as far as keeping up with what is like the current arcades, right? Like you could play a perfect Miss Pac-Man on Super Nintendo, I'm sure, but like to play whatever arcade game came out that year on Super Nintendo, it was really hard to get it perfect. Almost couldn't do it in a lot of cases. So SNK had this idea. So they essentially come out with two different systems. Well, I say different, but really they're more or less the same. So there's the MVS, which is the multi-video system. Now these were in arcades. So if you went to an arcade, they'd have their usual arcade cabinet. It was I think it was mostly red. And if you were to open the back of that, it has a place for up to 6 cartridges. Okay, so the arcade owner could put, I usually only saw them with like 3, but you could get up to 6. And the arcade owner could put them in there, and then when you went to play the game, you would just pick which one you wanted to play, and you could play it. And if those games got old, if one of them wasn't doing very well, the arcade owner could simply get a new cartridge for a lot less than an entire stand-up machine would cost.
Oh, that makes
Pop that
sense.
in there. And then also, you're talking about, multiple arcade games taking up the space of just one. So it gives their customers a lot more options when they come in. Now, granted, two people can't play two different games at the same time in the system, but, in general, that gives you a lot of extra choices and probably did well. So, usually when I went to an arcade and I saw them, they'd have like a fighting game and maybe like a puzzle game and a sports game, usually. But then, in addition to that, they have the AES, which is the Advanced Entertainment System. This is what you would have at home. Now, when you got the cartridges for that, internally, they were just about exactly the same as the ones they put in the arcade. So down to the pixel, the physics in the game, everything was exactly the same. So you had the arcade version at home. Now, the cartridges weren't really interchangeable because they had a different number of pins, so you couldn't simply take one out of the arcade machine and put it in your home machine. There were adapters that people have made that would let you do that. The main differences that you would have is that in the arcade, of course, they want you to pop quarters in as much as you can, so you could continue as many times as you wanted as long as you had quarters to do it. But they wanted to make sure, because their games are expensive, and we'll get to that, that when you got your game at home for your home system, that you didn't just blow through it in a day and felt like you were done with it. So when you got the game at home, it limited you to 3 continues. And I gotta say again, this is an exact port of a game that is meant to pull quarters out of you, right? So, tough.
3 continues.
3 continues.
And then it's a
Almost
game
always.
over, or you can't play it.
You can play it again. But I mean, you can't continue where you left off.
Right.
It would go back to the start screen. There's some games that might have done things a little differently, but for the most part, it was 3 continues. One thing that was kind of neat is on games where you could save your game to the memory card, you could take that memory card and then go to an arcade that had the same game. You could pop your memory card in the arcade and continue your game in the arcade if you wanted to.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, although you're also paying quarters to play a game that you have at home. But I guess if you're out with your friends, and you want to do it, I guess you can.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
It is a little strange. So
I could imagine, like, you going, you're playing at home, and then you're, who knows how, most console games aren't portable, right?
Right.
But, like, you're going to grandma's house who lives in another state, and you're like, I gotta find that arcade, I gotta
right.
this game.
Exactly. Well, I mean, if it is a different experience a little bit playing in an arcade, so I get that. And also, if you bought a NeoGeo, you could probably just throw them. You could probably, like, I don't know, stuff your shoes with money if they're not like quite comfortable, to pad it a little bit. You could, I don't know, you could throw money all over the place. So probably a quarter or two is not that big a deal to
Scrooge Ben's in your house.
Yeah, if you can divert any money, then. So let's talk about those systems.
I'd be curious, and I don't know if you wrote it down, like the price difference between, and obviously it doesn't matter now with emulators and stuff, but like, I wonder what the price difference of the commercial one was versus the home one, because honestly, if I could have a commercial one that I could plug in 6 games in the back, that's a lot cooler than having to swap them.
Agreed. And just put it on like free play or whatever the arcade.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what the cost of that is, although people do have them. Sometimes people just get like because it's not like they have a console looking thing inside of the arcade, because it's not meant to be seen. So they'll just have this board, this electronic board that has slots in it lying on their floor, and they'll just like stick the arcade games into it and play it that way, and it's really janky looking. I would want to put it in some kind of a casing at least, so the cat doesn't scratch pieces off it or whatever, but but I can't tell you how this came out initially. So when you wanted to buy the NeoGeo system at home, there was 2 versions you could get. You could get the silver system, speaking of odd budget choices. So this comes with just the system and a controller. No memory card, no game.
One controller?
One controller. Now it is arcade style. It's an arcade stick, like real arcade buttons. Good quality. But on average, that would be about $424, which is in today's money, $1,048. Now, if you want to go really all out, you can get.
Now I know why I didn't have it.
Yeah, you can get the gold system. I don't know anyone who had it. I'm sure someone probably did in my whole area, but no one that I was friends with. I was
Not the kid that got a new game every week.
No, he didn't. I'm amazed because he probably could have gotten a new NeoGeo game every month, maybe. I don't know. But the gold system came with 2 full-size controllers. Of course, the system. It had a memory card and would come with 1 game. Usually it was either Magician Lord or Baseball Stars Professional. And that cost $649, which is between $1,500 and $1,600 today.
Makes me sad we didn't get Magician Lord.
Yeah.
If that was a pack-in game.
Yeah. Now, the games themselves, you might be thinking, well, at least I have my system, and now I can just spend my $60 on my games, right? No, my friend, you cannot. The games were between $150 to $300, which is
Back then,
which is between $370 to $740 today. To give you an idea, SNES games typically range between $50 to $80, which is between $123 and $197 today, which is still not cheap, but that is a wide.
I guess we can't really complain that
difference.
Donkey Kong Bonanza is what, $78?
Yeah, exactly. To give you an idea, though, of the memory in these carts, like I remember going to Toys R Us and I saw a Strider for the Genesis, and they were there's a big splash thing on there that says this is an 8 megabit cartridge. Oh, it's gigantic. Okay, 8 megabit, right? Huge. Or megabits, right? Okay. So to give you another idea, like Super Mario World 4 megabits. Chrono Trigger, 32 megabits. The game we played today, Twinkle Star Sprites, 146 megabits. So the size of these games is a lot bigger. So I understand an increased price. That being said, there was no way in hell I would ever be able to talk my parents into buying a game for me for those kind of prices.
Yeah, but now you get Baldur's Gate 3 for like $50.
I know.
And that's 130 gigs.
Yeah. You know what? That special edition all-in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 actually looks pretty goddamn cheap at this particular moment. Has a lot more gameplay than probably any NeoGeo game. Not to insult them, but they're arcade games. That's what it is. So yeah, there's some big price things there. Obviously, I wanted one, but I knew it was so far out of the realm of possibility that I just didn't even really spend time thinking about it, because I'm like, I will never have that, but I would like one.
This was supported for quite a while, like into the 2000s, right?
Yeah, it went a long time.
So, which is wild, because by the time you hit 2000s, you're in the PlayStation 2 era. And I don't know. I'll have to see when we learn about Twinkle Star Sprites, when that was actually produced. But I'd be curious, because, like, did the games ever get better for the system? Because obviously when you look at the other systems, they really outplayed the graphics of this one.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I mean, they learn new tricks just like they do on any system to bring out the best. There's some NeoGeo games that, I mean, probably looked okay at the time.
But I mean, to cover like, what, it was out for what, 10
I mean,
or more years?
It wasn't going to start looking, I mean, they couldn't make it a 3D polygon system for the most part. You know, they just couldn't do that because that's not what the system did. Really gorgeous 2D sprites, absolutely. Like some of the prettiest games out there for sure, in a lot of cases. But yeah, I mean, it can only get so good because it's not the hardware that's changing, you know what I mean? But that was like the system where you could have arcade perfect at home until, you know, the next generation after that, probably.
That's interesting.
Yeah. All right, so that's just the NeoGeo. Mm-hmm. You want to tell about the game?
Yeah, so we'll go into the game with that information in mind. So Twinkle Star Sprites came out in 96. There was a few areas I saw that said 97, so I'm not sure if it, like, 96 is, like, the Japan release date and 97 was the Americans, or I couldn't find out what the different dates were about. So
it came out in 96 and you could afford it in 97.
Yeah. But it's an arcade shooter game for the NeoGeo. It's developed by ADK and published by SNK. It's also ADK's last game that they developed for the NeoGeo.
Wow.
Oh, in 97 there was an updated version, and it was also released for the Saturn.
Oh, maybe that's a 97 difference.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then throughout the years, there's been a few other releases. Most of them were only in Japan. There's currently been a release so that it's available on other systems now, but throughout the years, there's been a few minor updates and releases that for a long time were Japan only. For me, it was kind of like a shooters meets Tetris. Mm-hmm. Because as you're playing, the combos that you make end up attacking your opponent. So it's a vertical shooter where you're playing side by side with a bar in between, so you're not crossing over each other's paths, but you can attack shooting things over. So there's two types of standard attacks. There's the normal shooting and a charge-up shot. And each character also starts with 2 bombs to clear the screen. So as you're shooting the enemies on the screen and make combos, it will send thing over to your opponent. If your opponent shoots that, it's a reverse attack. And then when that reflects back, if you can attack that back over to your opponent again, it gets a boss attack. And then those start to become more powerful and do more damage. Both players start with 5 life points. The way you can heal in this game, and it's that you're healing by getting half life for the damage you do to your opponent. And then there's 9 characters to choose from, and it's kind of more 9 options to choose from because there's quite a few that are basically groups of 2 or 3 people. And then they each have their own stats with speed, shot, and the weapon that they can use. So that's kind of the basic overall.
With the release thing, actually, there's something I meant to talk about in the NeoGeo overall thing, but when they released a game for the home, well, probably for the arcade system as well, it actually simultaneously released everywhere. And oddly, Twinkle Star Sprites didn't come in like a package to the US. Like you couldn't buy the English US version of Twinkle Star Sprites, but every NeoGeo cartridge had all the different versions on it. So when you put it in your US system, it would detect the US NeoGeo BIOS and give you the US version, which would be in English, and it may have some edits. Like the fighting games might have blood in Japan, but in the US it wouldn't. That's not the case with Twinkle Star Sprites, but that's why, even though it didn't release here, we can still play it in English because they still made the different, I don't know how many different, but the different languages version for every game. So, kind of weird thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the one other thing that is that there's a few different modes to choose. There's a story mode, there's character mode, and then opponent. I can't remember if it's called opponents, but basically where you're fighting other people. Competitive,
I want to say.
Yeah.
I like shoot 'em ups a lot, but and this is definitely one, and I do like it, just to be clear, but it's so weird. What a weird game. And I think it's a fairly popular one, at least now in retrospect, but like I've still never seen, and there might be one, but I've never seen another shooter that does this, where you have 2 separate columns and you're essentially combating each other. There's plenty of 2-player shooters where you're working together. I haven't seen anything like this anywhere else, even to today. Like, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen that anywhere else?
Because it should be said that the story mode is just the versus mode, but you're playing against the computer.
Yeah. Right.
So there's it's no single player shooter. It is always like a multiplayer shooter.
Yeah.
I thought the story was pretty silly as well.
It's totally silly. You know, the problem I had is that you had to play on the Dreamcast.
Than some of the games we've played.
It did. You had to play on the Dreamcast. So I don't know if it's different. On the NeoGeo, the little blurbs, because the characters will say little things, right? It went by so quick, and I think I'm a pretty quick reader. There were times, if it was more than 2 lines, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to read all this.
And of course, if you push the button, it goes even faster.
Yeah, but I was trying not to. I was trying to read what she said, and there was so many, I'm like, that was so fast. I cannot keep up with that. But I don't, what even was the story? I try to remember what she was doing. Because when you do the story mode, you can only play as the one character. I can't remember her name. But I don't remember what she was trying to accomplish going after the big bad here.
I don't know. I didn't really pay too much attention to the names either.
Yeah, I didn't either for some reason. I don't know why. I know some of them, but they're so unique designs, and it's easier to remember their look than their names.
It's very it reminded me a lot of Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Graphics.
Like the chibi kind of versions, because they're really, really cutesy. This is I should call this a cute 'em up. It's more of the cute 'em up variety where everything's really cute. You're not in these super serious mechs or spaceships or anything. There's a girl riding a pig and one who flies a pencil and there's all kinds of goofy stuff.
Yeah, and you're not shooting tanks or enemy airplanes. You're shooting fuzzy chickens and
clams.
Clams and,
flying clams. I don't know why.
But yeah, I haven't played anything like this, and normally I don't really care for shoot 'em ups, but as Hilary mentioned, it very much reminded me of Tetris Attacks, and I love that game because it's very much you manipulate your screen to hurt the other player.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. Now, that does mean sometimes that you will get to a certain point where the computer is just not challenging anymore. And you have to go against your own player level. But I didn't find that. I found that the computer was still pretty challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really can be, and it's hard. For some reason, like, I'm better. It could just be me. I'm better at keeping track of what my opponent's doing when it's a human opponent. When it's a computer, I'm like almost not looking over there, and I'm just kind of hoping for the best. And every once in a while, it'll be like you KO chance or whatever
Yeah,
it says. And I'm like, yay, I'm doing good, and that's the only reason I know I'm doing good. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. But, you know, I know you said I like shoot 'em ups. You don't usually. Hell, you played like 3, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I think.
Yep.
How did this...
D-Force and...
Darius Twin, you played Darius Twin.
Yeah, I
It's
can't
much
remember.
better than D-Force.
Yeah.
You know, yes. I mean, almost everything is, but...
And now this one.
Well, this wasn't pointed out. This was your weak one.
Yes, this was
This is the one that you thought
kind of
was
my bad pick because my first shootout was D-Force, and so I was hesitant about this. I still kind of stand by it being my bad choice. I think shoot 'em ups are
this
just.
game.
I think shoot 'em ups are just not my jam. Part of it is because I have a medical condition with my arm, and so repetitive motions like button mashing is very difficult for me. So then it ends up not being enjoyable because my arm's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
I'm currently in a lot of pain right now. So just from the quick playthrough that we did this morning.
She's
so.
suffering for your entertainment. Some good reviews, for God's sake.
That's probably a good segue to... You have a joystick, because it's meant to be played arcade style. So it's a joystick or your D-pad or whatever you're emulating on. I preferred the joystick on my controller. And then there's 2 buttons. There's the shoot button. And then if you held down the shoot button, it made a charge attack. And then there was the bomb button, which essentially cleared the screen. Sometimes it kind of depended on who your character was
Right.
Yeah.
and what your thing did, which is one thing I really liked, especially in the versus mode, is that everyone had a different shot. I felt like the power of the shot actually mattered. Everyone had a speed, which was huge. Normally speed isn't that noticeable, but I did notice it quite a bit, especially the way that I played versus what I noticed other people play, because we did get a chance to play all against each other as well as Vinny. And then you have different supers. Your boss attacks or your super attacks are different as well.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I was really hoping in this game, any shoot 'em up I play, I'm actually usually hoping that it's got like the auto fire where you can just hold down your shoot button and it'll just keep going. But when you do that on this one, it starts charging your charge shot. So like, I think your arm would be better if it was like a separate button. You know what I mean? But it's just not what we had this time. But yeah, you cannot just hold down the button or use any kind of turbo cheat, because it's just going to charge your shot and you're not going to be shooting. So,
which is interesting because I don't think it was slightly mentioned, but you guys were able to play it on the NeoGeo, and I couldn't figure it out with my emulator. I could download the NeoGeo, but it wanted all this other input information that I just didn't want to do the research on. Let's be honest.
yeah, that's fine.
So I found it on the Dreamcast, and honestly, when we played it versus, because we played it on the NeoGeo versus, it looked exactly the same. It was all similar, but the Dreamcast controller has more buttons, so I was like, oh, well, maybe more buttons will do stuff, but no.
Yeah.
It was the same. You had to tap versus hold.
One thing that surprised me, even on the NeoGeo, but you said you even had it on the Dreamcast version, is the amount of slowdown in this game. There's a lot. There's a lot of slowdown. I mean, there's a lot of things on the screen, but I've played a good number of shooters on the NeoGeo because it has quite a few, and I could be wrong. I just don't remember having that issue with having so much slowdown in the game. And you said you even had that on the Dreamcast, which I thought, right? Which I thought they would have cleaned that up a little bit as they ported it to other things.
It didn't feel as bad as when we played it.
Oh, okay.
I will say that. There was slowdown, but I don't feel like it was as much because, and maybe we'll get to it in a little bit, but yeah, not as much slowdown on mine. And I'd be curious, because when we get to the price and stuff later, I just saw it on the Steam as well. So I'm curious if there's even less slowdown on that, maybe.
I would hope.
So we'll see. But it definitely affects the game.
Mm-hmm.
And not in a good way like Tetris Attacks. Because Tetris Attacks, you can still input as fast as you can. It's just everything else in the background slows down. But there's like times where it's like, I don't know. I can only imagine it. So to me, it feels like, and I've never flown a plane, but like if you're going down and you're like trying to pull the plane back up, you're like trying to push as hard as you can on that joystick, like go over, please.
Yeah. It's funny because some shooters that have slowdown, it can be a help to you. You can see where the bullets are going and you can kind of move. But like there's so much, it's not a bullet hell shooter, but there's so much on the screen, like bad guys on the screen and stuff coming from your enemy that like comes very fast, that I think it's going to sound silly in a genre where you always have to try not to get hit, but I feel like just dodging very precisely is more important in this game than in a lot of them. And so if you are going really slow, it just messes up your flow. Like, you know, all the bad guys are going slow too, but like you can get into a state in these games where you just kind of like, you're not even thinking about it, right? You're just kind of feeling how fast your ship goes and where it's going to be and when, and you know how it moves. And then the slowdown happens and it just F's you all up. Like it just...
It kind of puts you in panic mode. And
yeah, it's a problem.
Well, especially, and then after the slowdown, you speed right back up. Yeah. And you're like,
Exactly, yeah.
So it's almost like something you have to master in its own way.
Yeah, I'm shocked that it's an issue. I really am. Like, I would think that they would really maximize this game to work very well in the NeoGeo, but yeah, that slowdown, not the best. Yeah. Not a game breaker, but not the best.
What was nice about this game is there was a tutorial. Like, yes. There was, like, when you boot up the game, it auto starts you in the tutorial. It's telling you, press this to shoot, hold this to shoot, charge, this is your bomb button, these are what the power meter means, and this is like, I didn't pay attention to any of that, but, you know.
It was at least there.
It was there. But I did notice that, unlike, so, like, if you're doing a solo player shoot 'em up, the game is not going to give you impossible things, right? The game there is going to be a path through the bullets that you can take, whether you have to memorize it or whether you get lucky or whatnot. There will be a path. Not in this game. There will be times where if you let it and you get into the farther levels, a bunch of stuff will come down. And then with your opponent attacking you as well, it'll fill all the holes. And you either have to shoot fast enough to blow up, which I've noticed that, like, you shoot one thing and it kind of injures another thing during the blow up. So that's a good thing to time. Right. But if you're dodge alone, and we did that challenge because Vinny loves challenges. Yeah. Like bombs only challenge, where most of it was dodging. And just to dodge alone, you can't do it.
All right, so you mentioned when you blow up an enemy, how it hurts your opponent, and that's really where your combos come from. Like, it's in most shooters, you're just trying to destroy the things, whatever they are on the screen, just get rid of them. Here, ideally, you want to make it so you hit something, it blows up, and it creates this chain reaction of blowing up a bunch of other stuff too, because that's how you're going to send the most stuff over. So a lot of times when things are coming down in a group, I might try to shoot for the middle thing, hoping that it'll spread straight across. If you see, or if you think stuff's going to be coming your way, you might even try to time it so that it'll blow up as your opponent's stuff is coming down too. If you can see that different lines of bad guys are going to the same spot, ideally you want to blow stuff up there so they'll just keep running into the explosion. So there is for as chaotic as this game feels, there is a different strategy here than there is in other games where you're just trying to get anything and everything out of your way. Like, you want to make sure, if you can, to blow up as many things together as you possibly can, because that's what's really going to screw over your opponent the most. Which is kind of interesting. I think it's a neat take on the game, because I usually don't, other than like in other shooters, you have to shoot the one guy who's a different color because he'll have the power up. Like, that's the only time I normally, like, I have to get that one specifically. This one, there's a lot more of that, I feel like.
Yeah, and I didn't mention it in the beginning, but one of the things that this game does have is it has some different things based off the amount of time that you're playing. So it's kind of designed to be under a minute play per round. So around the 30 to 40 second mark, there'll be a blue orb that happens, and then that if you can destroy that gives you a fever, which makes your combos happen faster and your attacks become a little bit more powerful. If it goes into past 100 seconds and you're not firing off a shot, then there's a death enemy that appears.
Oh wow! Vinny, yeah. Vinny and I.
Never see that.
So
I was gonna say, you probably like with you guys doing your challenges, you guys probably
Vinny and I, our matches were against each other were so intense that the Grim Reaper came up often.
Yeah.
And so what was cool about the Grim Reaper, and I was just about to ask that before you mentioned it, because I didn't see it when we were playing in the NeoGeo version. I thought, oh well, maybe that was only a Dreamcast thing. Apparently it's a skill thing.
I never saw it. So yes, it was.
But yeah, he would like slowly come down, and if you shot it, he would pop over onto the other person's side. And then if you shot it, he'd pop back over, and he would be like zooming right for you, and then you'd have to like pass it back and forth.
That's interesting.
Like a tennis ball in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I never was clear on, but I think I know it is, but maybe you guys do for sure. So some enemies don't just harm you, they like stun you, and it wants you to like move the joystick and like hit your buttons real fast. Is it just any of the normal enemies when they run into you? Is that what stuns you and then you can't move very well?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I found that they do harm you maybe like a half a heart. So yeah, there's enemies that the game produces, and there's enemies that the opponent produces, and then there's, I don't know, it's all random, especially even in the story mode, like what game mode you'll get, which makes or breaks like how far you can get into the story mode. I think I found that some levels, not all levels, were created equal against the different opponents. But yes, so the ones that the game creates, the clams, the floofs, the chickens, those things, if they hit you, they stun you for a bit, and they show that you're supposed to, which is probably even worse for you, mash buttons to unstun yourself. And that sucks. Like, because especially if you get stunned right before your opponent sends attacks, because you can't do much.
Yeah, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
What's weird too about this shooter, and tell me if I'm wrong, none of the computer bad guys shoot anything. It's them just running into you, isn't it? Like there's no bullets on their side.
Correct.
Right? Like it's everything is running. It's just about running into you, which is also super bizarre for any kind of shooter. But
yeah,
I'm glad they're not shooting at you, because this game does not need them to be shooting at you.
No,
but
there, I mean, in a way, there's the enemies that come down and do like little patterns and stuff, and usually they're pretty slow. And then there are enemies that come up behind you. I'm not sure if those are attacks from your
I think it's from your opponent.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there are things that come down quickly, which I would consider almost like a bullet, but it is themselves. They're not standing and shooting. I felt like getting the hang of the game was pretty simple. Mastering the game is still a mission.
yeah, definitely. It looks so chaotic, but I think it's kind of like, not in gameplay at all. It's kind of like Smash Brothers, right? Where it just seems like this silly berserk fun, right? Mm-hmm. But there is some technical stuff here underneath the hood. Like if you actually work on mastering it, it stops being this totally random thing. Like you get good at this game. Like you really can.
Part of the story mode too, and this probably has to do with it being an arcade version, it slaps you in the face. I thought I got to like the final boss, and maybe it was just a mid boss, because we'll get to it when we get to Kids Corner, but I did not beat the game. I got to what I thought was the final boss, and she like, oh man, you're pathetic. You took 3 continues to get here. And
right,
I'm like,
I love that. That's hilarious.
Shots fired.
I know. She's the one that like throws like desserts at you, right? Isn't she like throwing like cake and weird stuff at you? Like,
probably. I don't know. Everything. To get good at the game, I stopped looking at what things were coming at me and just thought of it as a blob. Because I mean, it's very cutesy. It's like it's a game that I think kids would love to see played.
Yeah.
But then once they played it, they'd be like, oh, you know. Yeah, I had to stop like trying to organize in my brain what is coming at me versus something is coming at me, shoot it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because it's so fast-paced, so... Well, you mentioned it. They want you to die in under a minute, or they're going to keep adding more stuff to it.
Yeah. Yeah, but there is some stuff where I just would realize, like, oh, what the hell is happening? Because, you know, if you're going to play a regular shooter, it's like, oh, it's another spaceship. Oh, it's a bigger spaceship. Whatever. Okay, this one has, like, a munching teddy bears coming at me. And, oh, God, there's flying pigs. And, like, just random stuff that you just don't really... how can you expect to see any of this, honestly? But, like, it's just so weird that you're like, oh, okay, we're doing that, huh? All right, that's bizarre. Sure.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different play styles. And I noticed that... And you guys can talk about yours, but I'll talk about mine and Vinny's, because I don't think Vinny really talked about his. But I felt mine was more stay alive, whereas Vinny was more high risk, high reward. Because he consistently, when he played against you too, got those boss attacks.
Yeah, he was really good.
Which is the make a combo, shoot it over, they shoot the combo, shoot it back.
Yeah.
And it is hard to shoot those combos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he would play at the back of the screen because you could go all the way to the top if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He would go to the back of the screen and just go right and left. Occasionally, if he had to, he would move. He would use his charge attacks quite a bit, especially in certain characters. And he would really try for the... I don't think he knew how he was doing it, but he knew that you needed to reflect your enemy's attacks, right? So he was very good at that. And I think he beat both of you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he beat me a couple times, but it's high risk, high reward. Whereas me, I immediately went to the middle of the board.
Yeah.
Because most of the stuff came from the top. So you shoot. And then a lot of the times when the things came over from your enemy's side, it came from the middle of the board.
Yeah.
So you could dodge those pretty well. And then you weren't at risk from the things that came from behind you as much as you would be if you were down there. So my strategy was I was constantly flying in circles and just spraying. And then if I needed to, like, be a little more accurate, then I would actually do that. But... yeah, that was my strategy. And it really did well in Versus. I didn't really try it as much in story mode because I was kind of like how Vinny was in the beginning, and I'd just go right and left and shoot. So I'd be interested to see if I could do any better now in story mode. But what was your guys' approach to it?
Do you have anything to go?
I was probably more like Vinny, where I knew I wanted to try and reverse any of the oncoming attacks, so I tried to kind of mostly focus on that. And then if there wasn't that, then I was focusing on the other enemies on the board. But like a lot of my focus was trying to reverse attack.
For me, I was trying to do what I do in more traditional shooters, and especially bullet hell shooters. Like the sweet spot usually is considered to be like about a third away from either the back or bottom edge of the screen, depending on which way your shooter is going. That way, if anything comes from behind, you have room to dodge it. Also, it gives you room to back away and move to the side from shots, which is usually necessary. I don't know if that's the right, because I was so shocked to see where you were hanging out on the screen. I was like, wow, maybe that's the way to do this. But I would always be trying to figure out who to shoot so I can make them all explode. But I think sometimes I'm analyzing that a little too hard instead of just like going with the flow sometimes. Because I'll be doing that, and then when it starts going to hell, I get in kind of like panic mode, and now I'm just like blasting like a lunatic, but it may not actually be that great. You know what I mean? So this is like where I'm realizing, okay, I need to like, if I wanted to keep playing this and get better, I need to figure out how to like fix those things. But that is what I was doing. Though. I was saying about a third of the way up in general, and then trying to hit the monsters that would create combos as best I could. But you know, I can't beat you and Vinny, so so my strategy is obviously not quite as good as that. So
yeah, and I think a lot in the story mode I was dodging the opponent's attacks because I didn't realize at that time that shooting them back was the trick.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely certain monsters that I felt like you couldn't shoot. Like, it seemed like almost instant death once a boss monster came out.
yeah.
I think I only survived once on a boss monster, and I think it was just because I happened to, like, shoot a bomb or have a bomb at that point.
Right.
And it was nice because even if the thing got close to you and with the bomb, it was almost like it put you to a new plane to drop the bomb, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it didn't
got
hit
out of
you.
the way.
Yeah, it was kind of like an invincibility type thing. Do we want to talk about the different characters? Because the characters actually mattered. I don't recognize their names and stuff, but I can describe
Yeah, I mean, I didn't study them super well, but like I
or at
get
least
some
say
idea
your,
about some of them.
say your favorite or your least favorites. Or...
I mostly, like, out of the characters that I played, I liked the cat the best. He had kind of a higher speed. His power was kind of middle ground. I, like, never really used the charge up attacks with any of the characters, so, like, the fact that his is close up didn't really play a difference. But, like, the few playthroughs I did, like, I tended to do better with him than the other characters that I tried, so.
I like the guy with, like, the rocket on his back or whatever it was. Like, he's just really, really fast, which is great, although I don't feel like I'm good with him, but I like how fast he is, but I almost feel like I have to get a handle on his movement to really...
Is that the cat?
What? No, he's just a guy. He's like a boy. And he talks about how he loves his rocket when he wins. But he's pretty good. I also do like the main gal you do in the story mode. She's pretty decent all around. But yeah, I like the fast guy just because I think dodging is so important. But I tend to overcorrect with him, so I got to get better at him. But
yeah, Vinny really liked the cat. I didn't care for the cat that much because of the charge attack. But the more I played the game, the less I used the charge attack. Because now there are some, like Vinny really liked, I think it was the one with the Griffin. And I think the Griffin had like a laser beam that if you held and shot the laser beam stayed for a bit, so you could swipe back and forth and clear the screen. So there were some that were better than others. The punching, just, you had to be close.
yeah.
It was powerful, but you had to be close. But his speed, the cat's speed, was just one. If you could get used to not using the charge attack, you could dodge almost everything.
Yeah.
I really like the twins, Twinkle and Linkle, I think it was, because I felt, and this could just be a feeling, that their shots were a bigger hitbox because there was two of them. I don't know if that's a thing. I like the gal that had all the pigs, and I like the fuzzy ones.
Yeah.
Fuzzy ones.
I don't know which character it is. Whoever has the bomb where like just like a giant wave comes and flushes the screen, I just love that.
That's a cat.
Is that a cat?
Yeah.
I just love that bomb. I think that's an awesome bomb. It just looks amazing. Most of them are, more, I guess.
I think the main one just has like a regular bomb.
Yeah, it's got like a little star or something in the middle of it, and it's cute. But the water one just looks awesome. I don't know if it's better or worse or anything, but
I think the twins, their bomb is they shoot like a big fireball that goes up and down and then up and then clears the screen that way. So it's not as promising as other ones, but I think, they have power-ups. I don't know. You get points.
Yeah,
There's a coin
right?
that flips between points and something else, and then there's another coin that flips between points and a bomb. Super annoying, especially if you really need another bomb, because to try to avoid, shoot, and time it, which it's pretty quick flipping back and forth.
Yeah.
To get that bomb, it's like, can't you just, I got the coin, can't you just give me the bomb? I really need it. So
I think, I don't know why, unless it does something that I'm not aware of, I don't know why you would even care about points in this particular game, because it's...
Well, it's an arcade game. You put your high score on the arcade.
It is,
everyone
I guess.
sees
It's just like, it's so much more about, like, defeating your opponent, whether it be human or not. Like, if the points aren't helping me, I don't care. Like, give me something useful. But yeah, I don't know.
Interesting thing that I can talk about is I played it on handheld, and I played it on the big screen. Graphics were pretty decent on both. I played it with a controller on the big screen, but when I tried to get it to work with two controllers on my Steam Deck, I couldn't. And I bet if I would have pushed harder, I could have figured it out. Maybe my controller needed to be charged or something, I don't know. But I played it on the keyboard
Oh, boy.
as well.
That sounds hard.
And I don't know if you can change the buttons. But the letters A and S were your shoot and bomb. And your arrow pad was your moving around. So when you play it on the controller, your left hand is the one moving and your right hand is the one shooting. So I'm very used to button spamming with my right hand. So I let my son play the controller. Mm-hmm. And I was playing it, and my left hand was just getting super tired and carpal tunnel. And he beat me like the first couple rounds. And I was like, I'll switch.
Oh my God. You
Night and day.
Crisscross armed? Really?
Yeah.
That sounds
Crisscross
really
armed.
odd.
And
oh my God, I can't even
just
imagine.
blew him away.
I can't even, that feels awkward to me, but I mean, hey, I guess it worked, so.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. Like, okay, so I'm just curious. Like,
Which is weird because you're like going like this. Because with the joystick, you can move. And with the D-pad, it's kind of close too. But to have to push each button, my hand was
that sounds
literally
insane.
like you see like those master pianists.
Yeah.
It was going like that, and my guy was like.
That's wild. Yeah. So we know you use the stick. I used the pad. What did you do? I wasn't paying attention to how you control it.
I think I was using the stick.
Okay, so I was the weird pad guy. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I preferred it. It just because you could move in any direction, I felt like it was a lot more flowy.
Sure.
Using the stick, because then if you use the pad, of course you can. I mean, yours has like the diagonal type buttons and stuff, but.
Yeah, I should have. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't plug in my arcade stick to try this. Because I think I would rather use an arcade stick if I could. But like for some reason, I just shooters or shoot 'em ups with a stick. I just can't get used to it. I don't know why. It's just weird to me. But
Well, yeah, it is one of those.
But I
things,
understand
like,
what you mean.
Push
It's
too
just,
far one way.
Yeah.
And stuff. I do have the How Long to Beat.
Okay, great.
Main story, it said 1 hour. I feel like that is about the time that Vinny beat it in.
Yeah.
Main plus extra, and maybe that's just I don't
Like,
know.
trying the different characters.
Yeah, is 5.5 hours.
That's got to be playing through all.
Yeah.
I don't know all, but a lot of characters.
And then completionist, it says 21.5 hours. So I don't know if you have to, like, maybe you have to beat, like, because there were, you said, 2 playable boss characters, but I never unlocked them.
Yeah.
So maybe you have to do something
Yeah.
a certain way.
Yeah, there's got to be something. Yeah. I don't know. That seems. I just don't know. I don't know how you do it. It's got to be something where you play enough time. It's so odd because it's an arcade game, right? It's odd that you unlock anything, really. I guess you would unlock it, and then as long as you keep continuing, you have it until... And then when your continues out, I guess the boss would go away again, so other people can't use it? I don't know. That's unusual.
Well, I mean, a lot of the fire games have, like, unlockable stuff, so...
Yeah, that's weird. But that is interesting. All right.
Ready for some prizes?
Now, are these nowadays prices?
These are nowadays prices.
Okay. Because we already know it's like
Yeah.
$100 or whatever before.
And I'll tell you what the arcade version of this cost is as well. But so this is actually considered one of the ones that collectors really want to get. It's hard to get because it only came out in Japan, so it's very wanted. In fact, it is the actual 4th most expensive game to get on the NeoGeo. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I will tell you this one, and I will tell you the most expensive one, just for fun. So if you want the regular home system version, which again, this is going to be the Japanese version, but it will still play in English. If you want just the cart alone, it is $581. If you want it complete in box, $1,277. If you'd like it brand new, $2,612. Now, if you want the arcade cartridge of this, the cartridge alone, $720, which I bet is how you're going to find it the most, because I don't imagine arcade owners really just kept all the boxes, maybe. But, if you want it complete in box, though, $1,584, and if you want it brand spanking new, like an arcade owner bought it and then decided, I don't know, $3,240.
And you said the arcade and the other one aren't interchangeable unless you have like a fix.
You need to have an adapter, which I don't know how easy it is to get an adapter. I didn't look into that. But like in general, I would rather have the arcade one just so you're not stuck with 3 continues, but
and now that NeoGeo, the game system, you said that the price, but that was how much it was back then.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, today the silver system, which is just the one controller and the thing, is about $1,048. The gold system, which is the system, 2 controllers, memory card, and a game, would be between $1,500 and $1,600.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, if you really want the gem of the system, the one that everybody wants to get because it is apparently the rarest, even though you can play this on about 800,000 compilations, it's easily playable out there without having the cartridge. But that would be the first Metal Slug game. I just have the home port version of it, the price, okay? So the cartridge alone, $3,254. That's kind of expensive.
Kind of.
If you like it new in box, $59,500. If you want it brand spanking new, $119,000. Or you could buy a house in some areas, you know? Whatever. Whichever you want.
If you want to play any of those games and you know how to use an emulator, you do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play those games and you don't know how, on Steam, Twinkle Star Sprites is $8.
Yeah.
I would pay $8 to play this game.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good enough
Absolutely.
game. Metal Slug 1, or 1, 2, and 3, all $8 on Steam. If they actually have a bundle right now for $30, you get Twinkle Star Sprites, you get 3 Metal Slugs, and
I think there was
a
2
couple
more.
other games.
Yeah.
Yeah. A baseball game and something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend this game. I don't know if the story mode necessarily has replayability. But against Versus, I could see it picking up and playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some tournaments for this game.
Yeah,
that
there are.
Did you say you had like a tier list?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that. So these tournaments that they have, it is ongoing. They're still doing. They're not really big. The highest prize that I could find was $100. So it's not massive. I think it might usually be done online. I'm not totally certain about that. As far as the tier list,
online. Could you imagine the leg?
I mean, hopefully none. But who knows? I can't. Yeah, you can't do this with lag. It would have to be the best possible connection. I don't know. All right, so here is the tier list. In D tier, you have Tinker and Linker. C tier is Gremlin, Yan Yan Yang, and Mikuru. B tier is Miyamoto and Sprinkle. A tier is Nanjamanjo and Kim. And S tier is Lodran and Griffin. That's your tier list. Yeah. So apparently with unlockable bosses, those are usually banned from tournaments because they are overpowered. So there you have it. If you want to get good with a bad one or be bad with a good one, I guess.
Apparently one of my favorites.
Yeah, but you do great. So, you know, it might just be that it's just they're harder to master maybe, but not, you know, I don't know. I have no idea. But that's what it is. So if you want to earn $100, you can try to look up one of these tournaments and see when one's happening. And if you can either get to it or play it online, it's there for you. I know I'm nowhere near good enough because Steve and Vinny both beat me, so they should do it.
Yep.
I will not.
Speaking of Vinny, why don't we go over to Kids Corner and see what he thought?
Let us do. All right, we're here at the Kids Corner. I'm here with Vinny, who played the game. Maddie's just not playing it. I don't know what's going on. She won't play the games right now, but you did. So, before we get to that, you played anything else recently?
Cuphead.
Cuphead. You can play a lot of Cuphead.
Roblox.
Okay. Is that it? That works.
Yeah.
Okay. But you played this game. You played Twinkle Star
But
Sprites.
also Mario and Luigi by the same.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay. Do you like that one?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to try that someday, but haven't yet. All right, Vinny. So, what do you think of this game?
It is really good.
Yeah?
I actually beat it 2 times.
Very nice. That's good. That's better than me, just like when we played the players.
Which means I did replay. Which means I replayed it.
Yeah.
So I think it has a good. So I think we should replay it.
Yeah.
And it's also a versus mode, and I won against everyone.
You did. You played against me like 2 or 3 times, and I did not beat you once at all. So you are kind of a ninja at this, which is good. So what are some things that you really liked about the game?
That you could play different characters on story mode.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. And is there anything that you didn't like about the game?
Like, it was super hard because I was at like half a heart, and then I look at the boss, and it's like They have not taken any damage.
Yeah, it can be that way sometimes for sure. So it's just kind of challenging. But you still beat it twice, so that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
You don't want the game to be too easy. So I guess if you had the chance, would you recommend this to other people, like your friends or anyone else?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can, like, 1v1.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this though, because you played both single player and multiplayer. Which mode did you like better? Multiplayer? All right. That makes sense. I think it was meant to be a multiplayer game. Kind of looks like it. But. All right, Vinny. Well, I appreciate your input on that. I'm glad that you liked the game. And we'll talk to you again about the next game, probably, unless you don't play it. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right?
Oh, and also, I dyed my hair.
You did dye your hair. Oh, my God. That is shockingly red. Very cool. No, it looks great, though. I'm going to do mine. It's gonna be good. Just wait. All right. Thanks, Vinny. All right, so now it's time to figure out what game we're going to be playing for the next week. And this time we had to pick games that were on the Game Boy Advance and were adventure games. It's kind of a broad spectrum of things, so we might have all kinds of different stuff. But Hilary, do you want to tell us which games you brought?
Yeah. So my first pick is Pokemon Ruby. I really enjoy the Pokemon games, and I've been wanting to replay them, so why not pick a Game Boy Advance? So I feel like a Pokemon game had to be at least one somebody's pick.
Yeah.
My next game is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I enjoy the Kingdom Hearts games. I do enjoy the bigger system, like the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and better than the handhelds, but it's still a fun game, so I won.
Have you played it on the handheld before? I've only played the PlayStation.
I played this one for just I know I played one of the handheld ones. I can't remember if it was this one or not, but they're not quite as good, but they're still enjoyable games, so. And then my last pick, if you can't guess, is going to be my bad pick, and that's going to be Catwoman. So I thought it'd be fun to discuss which is worse, the game or the movie.
That's like a turd.
Is this based on the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, the old Blackberry. Wonderful. I'm sure it's amazing. Wow. God, I'm terrified of that. Steve, do you talk about what games you brought?
Yeah, so I think if you remember last video when this was announced and I like blurted out a bunch of games, I kind of took a step back to look harder because I was going to pick a Pokemon game, and I really like the Fire Red and Grass Green games. Mm-hmm. But I know that Game Boy is out there somewhere in our picks. Yeah. And so I want to leave the originals for that.
That's why I went with Ruby.
Yeah. I don't think I played Ruby. Is it Ruby, Sapphire, and Pearl?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I did go with Final Fantasy Tactics Advance because that game is amazing. I haven't played it in a while. I believe I beat it when I did play it. I've not got really far. Right. And it's not as adult as Final Fantasy Tactics for the PlayStation was. It's more following kids' adventures and stuff like that. But I really like the somewhat limiting of job classes in it as opposed to the regular ones. So, and there's lots of other rules to it that makes it a lot of fun. I then chose a game that I have not played personally, but is one of the top rated RPGs for the Game Boy Advance, and I think it came out for the Game Boy Advance. And that is Golden Sun. Is it? Have you played it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it looked good, and it, like I said, it had really high ratings. So I was like, yeah, maybe a chance to play a game that I hadn't played before.
Playing that one, I should have been working on. I know.
All right. And then my stinker of a game. It's a first-person shooter, and I think this would be one of the first first-person shooters that have been brought up in these selections. So it is Medal of Honor, which is surprising because I think they put out some pretty good games for like the normal console. But this one is Medal of Honor Underground. I watched a little bit of gameplay, if you can call it that. And graphics were considered graphics, I guess. it looked rough. So, and it was, I looked up some of the worst rated games to get like an idea.
Yeah. My picks for this time were The Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap. As you know, the Zelda games are all very good. And
rewind, go watch the first episode.
what I said, they were usually very good, but almost never great. That's what I said. This one has a good chance of being very good. Maybe it's great, though. I'm hoping it's great. That could be awesome. You're Link, but you can shrink down, and that sounds fun. I don't know. I don't think I've played this one, so that sounds good. Then I picked Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, which there are, I believe, 3 Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance. They're all the Metroidvania style, and I think this one is widely considered the best of them. So I'm excited about that. It's got a wonky story like every Castlevania that's ever been released ever, so that's good. And then my bad pick, I don't know if it's really bad exactly. So it's Broken Sword, The Shadow of the Templars. Broken Sword, this long-running adventure game series that's been on PC, but also it's been on like PlayStation and other systems as well. And the reason why I picked that is, for one, I'm not a big point-and-click adventure guy. Like, I like them sometimes, but, you know, they don't make too many of those games anymore, and I think it's just kind of fallen out of fashion, out of favor. And playing that kind of game when you don't have a mouse, when you're using a directional pad, is sometimes awkward. Now, it might not be in this one. I have not read any real reviews of this, but I'm like, okay, well, it's a series I know, so maybe I'll discover something cool if I'm really lucky. But I feel like this may not be the best way to discover this series, but we're gonna see what happens and just get out for the best.
So let me break down David's picks.
Yes.
Zelda,
yes,
who he has regularly said he does not like. Castlevania, which we have played one Castlevania in these podcasts.
This is a good one, though.
And he's on an arc to reclaim that game.
He also
then his bad pick.
another Castlevania the week before as one of his picks. So
I want to play some Castlevania, but not credit.
So from my knowledge, all 3 are bad picks for me.
Some people don't have a lot of knowledge, is the thing. And so we just all right. Anyway, I think all these picks are possibly good.
all of them.
All of them. Broken Sword has a chance of being good. Okay, outside chance. Zelda, I'm sure, will be at least good. Castlevania will be fantastic.
I mean, I'm hoping that we can get a good reclaim of that series.
I me too. It needs it. We got to find some Castlevania somewhere that is good. And it's not going to be the N64 ones either if that ever comes up. So anyway, all right. So let's find out. We're all going to put a vote behind one of these games and give it a little better chance in the good old randomizer. Vinny, do you want to pick first? Since you haven't talked for a while.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. All right, Steve.
I mean, I have free will and I can play the game that I want to play.
That's right.
So, but I don't know that I would play this game if I didn't pick it. So I'm going to do Golden Sun.
Okay. Hilary?
I'm also going to go with Kingdom Hearts. Yes! I was originally going to do Pokemon, but I'll give a little extra bonus to
you
that
can
one.
breathe a sigh of relief. I was going to pick Pokemon Ruby because I keep meaning to start. I haven't played Pokemon since Pokemon Red, really. So I keep meaning to start one, but I'm like, I don't know which one to start with, but this will make the decision for me if it happens. Okay, so those are all of our choices. Let's see which one we get. Please not Catwoman. Please not Catwoman. Okay. This game is an intricate mystery of cults, conspiracies, and curious puzzles adapted for pocket play. We're playing my iffy pick, Broken Sword, The Shadow of the Templars. I don't think it's going to be a bad game, necessarily. I don't think this is the ideal place to play it. But that's what we're going to do. I'm hoping, because some of these point-and-click games, I don't know if you guys ever played any, like the King's Quest or anything, sometimes the puzzles can be just who would ever think that this could be the answer to this puzzle? So I'm hoping that the puzzles aren't so opaque that it's going to drive me insane. We'll see. We had Zelda and Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. Pokemon. We'll get them one day. We will.
They're on a bunch of systems.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
We'll get there. So that was our randomizer. We're doing Broken Sword, The Shadow of the Templars.
I've never heard of it.
I'm familiar with the series, kind of. I know that it is a series.
Is it a Nintendo exclusive? Or is
that particular version? I don't know. I have to see, because there's several of them out, but I don't know the titles. So, all right. Let's find out what kind of game we're going to be trying to pick from next time. Okay, first category,
Any system.
any system. Oh,
Any
this is
system.
fun. Okay.
That could be any system.
It could be any system. Yeah, it could be anything. All right. What's the other one? 30-something?
Any game.
30.
Oh.
That leaves it very open. That's, yeah. All right, let's see what genre we're going to be doing on any system. Why are you laughing? It's not funny. Okay. It's funny. Maybe. I don't know. 24.
Military.
Military. Oh, we got another military. We have a lot of options. So, there we go. Some kind of a military-themed game. Again, like last time, doesn't have to be the real world military, but it can. It just has to have a military-ish theme to it. And we can pick from all of the systems that we usually cover. So,
I know one game that's not going to be picked.
what's that?
D-Force, we've already done.
Ah, what a shame. Jesus. I don't want to play that game ever again. So there we go. Any system military game. We're going to come up with some options next time. I'm curious what they'll be, because last time, for the most part, we didn't have a lot of modern-day military choices, and I'm suspecting it will be similar this time.
Well, no, there's so many.
I mean, there are
Over
a
all
lot.
the systems?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, yeah. Okay, so
Tons.
that'll be fun. I'm already getting some ideas in my head right now, so that's very cool. So that's what we'll be picking from next time, and we'll be covering that Broken Sword game. So hopefully, I'm hoping this will be actually really good, and we'll think that this is a cool game. I didn't pick one that I thought was necessarily bad, so there's a chance. We're just gonna see how it goes. We can have Final Fantasy, guys.
We can have it next time.
We could.
It's a
Yeah.
military
We could.
game.
There's a lot of,
it opens all the Final Fantasies.
It does. It opens a whole lot of stuff. Yep, absolutely. So, all right. So we'll see you guys next time here. In the meantime, if you could give us a review on whatever podcasting thing you're listening to or on YouTube, if you're willing to give us the highest possible review and leave a little note, that would be fantastic. If you hate us, though, yeah, you could give us a 1-star, but you know what would really mess with our heads? What if you gave us a high score, and then we'd be like, they like us, but you really don't? That would teach us a lesson, right? Right.
And then, if you don't like us, share it to all your friends so they can make fun of us too.
That's right. Yeah. They should listen to every episode and just keep making sure they have new things to make fun of us about, right?
Yep.
And continue with the messing with us by giving us high ratings, of course. That's what we want.
Makes sense.
And I'm done chilling for reviews. So anyway, we'll see y'all next time, and play Broken Sword, The Shadow Templars with us if you would like to, and let us know what you thought. All right? Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Ugh, audio issues are the worst. I'm certain they'll do better next week. Not good, but better.